Have you ever felt a quiet stirring deep within, a sense that your life is meant for something greater than what you see? Perhaps you've walked through seasons of silence, faced rejection, or struggled to break free from expectations that seem to confine you. These moments, though difficult, are not without purpose. They are part of a divine process, a journey carefully orchestrated by God to shape, refine, and prepare you for a calling that transcends human understanding. This journey is not random, it is intentional. Every challenge you've faced, every tear you've shed, and every silent battle you've fought has been leading you toward a destiny far greater than you can imagine. But this calling is not just about elevation, it is about transformation. It requires breaking free from the traditions that bind, embracing the silence as preparation, and finding strength in rejection. It involves stepping into the responsibility of elevation with humility and discovering the power of divine connections that will propel you forward. These 6 stages, woven into the fabric of your life, are not just milestones. They are the building blocks of your God-given purpose. Each one serves a critical role in shaping you into the person He has called you to be. This journey is not easy, but it is worth every step, every struggle, and every moment of faith. Let's explore together how God is guiding you through these transformative seasons, preparing you for the extraordinary purpose that awaits. 1. A journey, orchestrated by God. Your journey through life, with all its trials and tribulations, is not a series of random events. Instead, it has been carefully orchestrated by God, who is leading you step by step toward a purpose greater than anything you can imagine. Every setback, betrayal, and hardship you've endured was not without meaning. It was part of a divine process of refinement. Often it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the challenges of life, wondering why the road you walk is so uniquely difficult. Yet this very path, though painful, has been laid out with precision to prepare you for something extraordinary. God sees the potential within you that others might overlook. He understands your capabilities, even when you doubt yourself. The challenges you've faced were not meant to break you, but to mold you, to help you grow into the person He has designed you to be. These moments of pain and confusion are the building blocks of a stronger, more resilient spirit. Each step you've taken, whether filled with triumph or despair, has been a necessary part of your preparation. God's orchestration of your life isn't always immediately clear, but His work is deliberate and purposeful. The trials you've endured are not just about personal growth, but about positioning you for the greater good. God's plan for your life is not limited to your own understanding. It transcends human logic and goes beyond the boundaries of what society or tradition might expect. Every experience has been a lesson, every hardship a test, and every victory a glimpse of what's to come. You've been chosen for a reason, and though you may not fully understand that reason yet, trust that it is woven into the very fabric of who you are. God's orchestration also involves timing. Often we want immediate answers and results, but God operates on a timeline that is perfect in its delay. The waiting period can feel excruciating, but it is during these moments that you are being prepared in ways you might not realize. Like a seed planted in the soil, your growth is happening beneath the surface, hidden from view, but essential for the harvest that is to come. God does not rush the process because He knows the value of preparation and the significance of the calling He has placed on your life. Moreover, this journey is deeply personal. While others may walk alongside you, your path is uniquely yours. Comparisons to the journeys of others are futile because what God has in store for you is specifically tailored to your strengths, weaknesses, and purpose. It is not a road that everyone can walk, and that is why your trials may seem more intense or more isolating. But in those moments of solitude and difficulty, God is closest, guiding you through what might feel like an impenetrable darkness toward the light of your destiny. The hardships you've faced are also a testament to your strength. God would not have allowed you to face such trials if He did not believe you could overcome them. You are stronger than you realize, and your endurance is a reflection of the divine power working within you. The fire you've walked through was not meant to consume you, but to refine you like gold, stripping away the impurities and leaving behind a purer, stronger version of yourself. As you reflect on your journey, it becomes clear that every experience, whether painful, joyful, or seemingly insignificant, has played a role in shaping you for the future. God's orchestration is not always apparent in the moment, but as you look back, you can see His hand at work in every detail. The moments you thought were setbacks were actually setups for growth. The times when you felt lost were when God was quietly steering you toward His purpose. In this grand orchestration, God's ultimate goal is not only your transformation, but also your impact on the world around you. Your story, with all its ups and downs, is a testament to His glory and His ability to bring beauty out of brokenness. By allowing yourself to be shaped by His hand, you are becoming a vessel for His love and power, a beacon of hope for others who are still in the midst of their struggles. So, as you continue this journey, trust in the process. Trust that God's orchestration is flawless and that every moment, no matter how difficult, is part of a greater plan. You have been set apart, chosen for a purpose that is far greater than you can imagine. And while the road may be long and the challenge is great, the destination is worth every step. God is at work in your life, weaving together a masterpiece that will not only transform you, but also inspire and uplift those around you. 2. Silence as preparation. Silence is often misunderstood. In a world that values noise, activity, and visibility, silence can feel like an unwelcome void, a place where nothing seems to happen. But in God's kingdom, silence is not a punishment or an absence of progress. It is the sacred space where preparation takes place. It is in these quiet moments, away from the distractions and chaos of the world, that God does His deepest work in you. The silence you experience is not a sign that you have been forgotten. It is evidence that God is shaping you for a purpose that requires refinement, resilience, and strength. When life feels silent, it can be tempting to equate that stillness with stagnation. You might feel as though your efforts are going unnoticed or that your prayers are going unanswered. Yet this season of quiet is where the greatest transformation occurs. It is in the silence that God sharpens your vision and aligns your heart with His will. He is removing the noise so you can hear His voice more clearly. In this stillness, you are being equipped for battles you have yet to face and victories you have yet to claim. This sacred silence is a time of preparation that often goes unnoticed by the world. Much like a seed buried in the soil, there is hidden growth happening beneath the surface. To the outside observer, nothing seems to be occurring, but within, roots are stretching deeper, gaining the strength needed to support the fruit that will one day emerge. The silence is not a void, it is a womb of transformation, a place where God nurtures your spirit and builds within you the foundation needed to carry the weight of the calling He has placed on your life. In this season, God is not inactive. He is carefully molding you, stripping away what does not serve His purpose and filling you with what does. This process can feel uncomfortable, even painful, as it requires letting go of old habits, mindsets, and attachments that hinder your growth. Yet, it is in this refining process that you are being prepared for something greater. God is fortifying your character, teaching you patience and helping you develop the endurance necessary for the journey ahead. Isolation often accompanies silence, and this too serves a purpose. When God removes distractions and separates you from certain people or situations, it is not to leave you lonely, but to create space for deeper intimacy with Him. In the quiet, you learn to rely on Him fully. You begin to discern His voice above all others, and this clarity will guide you when the noise returns. God is training you to trust Him in the silence, so that when you step into the next phase of your calling, you will not be swayed by the opinions or demands of the world. This time of stillness is also a gift of renewal. The constant demands of life can drain your spirit, leaving you weary and unfocused. Silence allows you to reconnect with God and rediscover the strength that comes from His presence. It is a time to rest, to breathe, and to let His peace wash over you. In this rest, your spirit is rejuvenated, and you are prepared to take on the challenges that lie ahead. God knows the weight of the calling He has placed on your life, and He is using this time to ensure you are ready to carry it. The silence is also a test of faith. In the absence of noise and activity, do you still believe that God is working? Do you trust Him even when you cannot see the results? This is where true faith is developed, not in the moments of visible progress, but in the quiet confidence that God is faithful to His promises. By embracing the silence, you are demonstrating your trust in His timing and His plan, even when it doesn't align with your expectations. When the season of silence ends, it will not fade quietly. It will break forth like the dawn, sudden and undeniable. The work that God has been doing in the hidden places will become visible, and the world will see the fruit of your preparation. What felt like obscurity will be revealed as a season of profound growth and transformation. The silence will prove to have been not a pause, but a vital part of the journey. So, embrace the silence. Lean into the stillness and trust the process. Know that God is with you, working in ways you cannot yet see. This time is not wasted. It is essential. God is preparing you for something extraordinary, something that requires the strength, wisdom, and faith that can only be developed in the quiet. In the silence, you are being transformed, and when the time comes, you will emerge ready to step into the purpose for which you have been prepared. 3. Rejection as refinement. Rejection is one of life's most profound and painful experiences. It strikes at the core of who we are, often making us question our worth, our abilities, and even our purpose. Yet, in God's divine plan, rejection is not a punishment or a failure, it is a tool for refinement. While it may feel personal and isolating, rejection is often God's way of redirecting you, preparing you for a purpose that far exceeds human understanding. Through rejection, He removes the superficial, strengthens the essential, and aligns you with His divine will. When you face rejection, the first instinct is often to wonder, why me? It's easy to spiral into self-doubt or to blame others for their inability to see your value. However, rejection is rarely about who you are as a person. Instead, it is often about what you carry, the anointing, the potential, and the calling that others cannot control or comprehend. Those who reject you may do so out of fear, insecurity, or a need to maintain their own comfort and traditions. They sense something in you that disrupts the status quo, and their rejection becomes a defense mechanism against the authenticity and power you represent. Rejection reveals the foundation of your identity. If your self-worth is built on the acceptance of others, rejection will feel like a devastating blow. But when your identity is rooted in God's unwavering love, rejection becomes an opportunity for growth. It forces you to turn to Him, to seek His approval above all else, and to understand that your value is not determined by human opinions, but by His divine design. Rejection, painful as it may be, strips away the illusion that you need external validation. Instead, it anchors you in the unshakable truth that you are chosen and loved by God. This process of refinement also exposes and eliminates unhealthy attachments. Sometimes rejection removes people, places, or opportunities from your life that are not aligned with God's purpose for you. While it can feel like loss, it is actually a form of protection. God allows rejection to clear the path for what He has planned, ensuring that you are not distracted or derailed by what is not meant for you. Every door that closes is a redirection toward the open doors He has prepared, doors that lead to greater purpose and fulfillment. Rejection also purifies your faith. It burns away the false beliefs and shallow teachings that may have taken root in your heart. When you're cast aside or misunderstood, you are forced to rely solely on God. In this dependence, you learn to discern His voice more clearly and to trust His plan more fully. Rejection teaches you to value His truth above human opinions and to stand firm in your faith, even when it is tested by criticism, betrayal, or isolation. In the solitude that often follows rejection, God does his deepest work. He uses this time to mold you, to heal your wounds, and to strengthen your spirit. In the silence, you learn to hear his whispers, to feel his presence, and to trust in his timing. The isolation is not meant to harm you, but to prepare you for what lies ahead. It is in these moments of quiet refinement that God transforms your pain into power, your scars into strength, and your rejection into resilience. Rejection is also a test of humility and surrender. It challenges you to let go of your need for approval and to embrace the path God has chosen for you, even when it is difficult or unclear. It reminds you that your calling is not about fitting into human expectations, but about fulfilling divine purpose. The very things that make you different, the qualities that others reject or misunderstand, are often the exact reasons why God has chosen you. Your uniqueness is not a liability, but a gift, one that sets you apart for the extraordinary work he has planned. Looking back, you may begin to see rejection not as a wound, but as a turning point. Each rejection has pushed you closer to God, deepened your faith, and clarified your purpose. The pain you once felt has been transformed into strength, and the doors that closed have led you to opportunities far greater than you could have imagined. Rejection has not diminished you, it has refined you, stripping away what is unnecessary and revealing the core of who you are in Christ. Rejection is not the end of your story. It is a necessary chapter in the process of becoming who God created you to be. Through rejection, you are being prepared, strengthened, and positioned for something far greater than you can envision. God is using every experience, every tear, and every moment of pain to shape you into a vessel for his glory. The rejection you faced was not a setback, but a setup for the divine purpose that awaits you. So, embrace rejection as a part of your journey. Let it refine you, teach you, and draw you closer to God. Trust that he is using it to prepare you for a future that is filled with promise and purpose. What was meant to harm you will ultimately elevate you, revealing the masterpiece God has been crafting all along. You are not defined by the rejection of others. You are defined by the one who has chosen and called you for his glory. 4. Breaking free from binding traditions. Breaking free from traditions that bind is not an act of rebellion, but a necessary step in embracing the freedom and truth of God's calling. Human traditions, while often rooted in good intentions, can become restrictive when they prioritize form over faith, appearance over authenticity, or control over connection with God. For those who are called to a higher purpose, these traditions can feel like chains, limiting the expression of faith and the power of God's Spirit. To fulfill the extraordinary destiny God has for you, you must rise above these man-made constraints and step boldly into the liberating truth of his kingdom. Traditions can sometimes create a comfortable framework, a sense of order that provides stability. However, when they become rigid and dogmatic, they can stifle the very essence of faith. You may have felt the weight of expectations to conform, to follow the rules, uphold appearances, and fit neatly into a mold that others deemed appropriate. Yet the spirit within you has always known that there is more. There is a yearning for something deeper, something real, something that cannot be contained within the walls of human institutions or the limits of human understanding. God's kingdom is not about rituals or appearances. It is about transformation, liberation, and love. You were not called to fit into the systems of man, but to reflect the heart of God. Breaking free from traditions is not about discarding everything familiar, but about discerning what aligns with God's truth and what has been distorted by human pride and control. It is about removing the barriers that have been built to contain his power and allowing his Spirit to move freely in and through you. Throughout your journey, you may have encountered leaders or institutions that seemed more concerned with their platforms than with God's presence. They wielded authority not to serve, but to control, using Scripture as a weapon rather than a source of healing. They held others to impossible standards while secretly breaking them themselves, creating an environment of judgment and hypocrisy. Yet, even in these moments of disillusionment, God was teaching you to see beyond the facade. He was showing you the emptiness of traditions that prioritize form over substance, preparing you to walk a different path. Your calling is not confined by human expectations. God has placed within you a raw, unfiltered understanding of His love, one that transcends rituals and doctrines. You have seen how traditions can be twisted to maintain control, to manipulate, or to exclude, but you have also experienced the truth that sets you free. This truth is not about conforming to rules, but about being transformed by God's love. It is a truth that liberates, that breaks chains, and that brings life to the brokenhearted and hope to the lost. Breaking free from traditions does not mean rejecting structure or community. It means rejecting anything that hinders your relationship with God or the fulfillment of His purpose. It means walking boldly in the freedom that Christ has given you, unshackled by the opinions of others. It means choosing authenticity over appearance, faith over fear, and love over legalism. It means embracing the radical truth of God's kingdom, where the last are first, the broken are healed, and grace abounds for all who seek Him. This freedom is not without resistance. Those who cling tightly to traditions may view your liberation as rebellion. They may accuse you of being unworthy, unfit, or rebellious simply because you refuse to conform. Their words may sting, but they do not define you. God has called you to stand apart, to break down walls rather than build them, and to carry His love into places that traditions cannot reach. Their opposition is not a sign of your failure, but of the transformative power of your calling. God's love cannot be confined by human systems. His Spirit moves where it wills, bringing life and freedom to those who are open to it. You are called to be a vessel of that Spirit, carrying His love to the lost, the forgotten, and the brokenhearted. You are called to reflect His grace in ways that go beyond words, beyond rituals, and beyond traditions. Your life is a testament to the truth that God's kingdom is not built on oppression, but on liberation. As you walk this path, remember that breaking free from traditions is not about destruction, but about restoration. It is about returning to the heart of God, where faith is not a performance, but a relationship, where worship is not confined to rituals, but flows from a surrendered heart. This journey is not easy, but it is worth it. It is a journey that leads to freedom, to purpose, and to the fullness of life that God has promised. Embrace this freedom with courage and faith. Trust that God is with you, guiding you every step of the way. Let go of the chains of tradition and step into the boundless love and truth of His kingdom. You were not created to conform to the expectations of man, but to fulfill the extraordinary calling of God. This is your time to break free, to rise above, and to walk boldly in the purpose for which you were created. 5. Elevation with responsibility. When God chooses to elevate you, it is never random or without purpose. Divine elevation is not about personal glory or the pursuit of fame. It is about stepping into a higher calling that comes with responsibility and eternal significance. The process of being lifted by God is deliberate, prepared, and intricately tied to the work He has been doing in your life. It is not the kind of elevation that the world seeks, driven by applause and recognition, but one rooted in His divine plan to reveal His glory through you. To be elevated by God is to carry the weight of His calling with humility, grace, and unwavering faith. This elevation often comes after seasons of trials, silence, and refinement. When God elevates you, it is because you have been prepared in ways that others may not see or understand. The quiet battles you fought, the tears shed in solitude, and the unseen growth that occurred in the silence were all part of the preparation. God was shaping your character, strengthening your spirit, and aligning your heart with His purpose. The challenges you faced were not obstacles, but stepping stones, building the resilience and wisdom needed to carry the mantle He is placing upon you. With elevation comes the responsibility to remain grounded in God's truth. The spotlight can be blinding, and the pressures of visibility can tempt you to seek approval from the world rather than from God. Yet, your elevation is not about becoming someone others applaud. It is about reflecting God's love and power in a way that draws people closer to Him. The platform He has given you is not a pedestal, but a place of service, where your life becomes a testament to His grace and redemption. It is through your humility and faithfulness that His glory shines brightest. This responsibility also means resisting the temptation to compromise. The world may attempt to mold you, to define you according to its standards or expectations. People may seek to attach themselves to your success, to control your narrative, or to manipulate your message for their own gain. But the elevation God has given you is not for human agendas. It is for His divine purpose. You are called to stand firm, to remain true to the calling He has placed on your life, and to walk boldly in obedience to His direction. The opinions of others may shift, but the truth of God's purpose for you is unchanging. As you rise, you will also face criticism and resistance. The very people who once doubted or dismissed you may now turn their attention toward you, not out of celebration, but out of fear or misunderstanding. Their words may sting, but they hold no power over you. God has fortified you in the silence, teaching you to discern His voice above all others. Their accusations are nothing more than noise, distractions meant to pull you away from the path He has set before you. Yet, the strength you have gained through adversity will carry you through these storms, and their opposition will only confirm the significance of your calling. The responsibility of elevation also involves stewarding the influence God has given you. Your journey, your scars, and your victories are not just for your benefit. They are tools through which God will reach others. The people who witness your life will see more than your accomplishments. They will see the undeniable hand of God at work. Your testimony will inspire, encourage, and transform lives, not because of who you are, but because of what God has done through you. This is the heart of divine elevation, to point others toward Him and to reveal the power of His love and grace. God elevates those who are willing to carry the weight of His calling with humility. The spotlight is not about you, it is about Him. It is not a reward for your efforts, but a responsibility to use what He has given you for His glory. As you step into this new season, remember that every opportunity, every platform, and every connection is part of His plan to advance His kingdom. The gifts He has entrusted to you are not for personal gain, but for the greater purpose of reflecting His light in a world desperate for hope and redemption. Divine elevation is not without challenges, but it is also not without protection. God, who has brought you to this place, will sustain you through it. His presence will guide you, His strength will uphold you, and His wisdom will direct your steps. As you walk in this new season, lean on Him completely. Stay rooted in prayer, immersed in His word, and surrounded by those who encourage and uplift you in faith. The pressures may be great, but His grace is greater, and His power is made perfect in your weakness. This is a sacred responsibility, a calling that requires courage, faith, and humility. Yet, it is also a privilege to be used by God in such a powerful way. As you rise, let your life be a beacon of His love, a reflection of His grace, and a testimony to His faithfulness. Trust that He has prepared you for this moment, and that everything you have endured was leading to this purpose. You are not elevated by chance. You are elevated by design, and through you, God will reveal His glory to the world. This is your time to step boldly into the calling for which you were created, carrying the weight of His purpose with joy and unwavering faith. 6. A community of divine connections. You were never meant to walk this journey alone. While seasons of isolation and solitude are essential for growth and preparation, God's ultimate plan involves placing you within a community, a gathering of individuals who share the same fire, vision, and calling. This community, your soul tribe, is not bound by blood or tradition, but united by the Spirit. They are those who have walked through their own trials, emerged refined by the fire, and are now ready to walk alongside you in purpose, power, and love. As you reflect on the isolation you may have felt, it becomes clear that it was not a punishment, but a preparation. God used that time to strip away superficial connections and relationships that were not rooted in truth or purpose. He removed the distractions and revealed the depth of your reliance on Him. In the quiet, He strengthened your foundation so that when He brought the right people into your life, you would recognize them immediately, not for what they could offer you, but for the shared calling that binds you together. This community is unlike anything you have experienced before. It is not based on shallow exchanges or surface-level connections, but on a deep spiritual bond. These are individuals who see you, not just your successes or struggles, but the essence of who you are. They understand your journey because they have walked a similar path. They too have faced rejection, endured silence, and been refined by trials. Their scars mirror yours, and their stories resonate with your own. In their presence, you will feel truly seen, understood, and valued. God is intentional in bringing these people into your life. They are not just companions. They are partners in the mission He has called you to fulfill. Together, you will support and challenge one another, spurring each other on toward greater faith, growth, and impact. This is not a group that binds you with judgment or comparison. Instead, it is a community that lifts you up, encouraging you to step fully into your God-given identity and purpose. In their fellowship, you will find freedom to be authentic, to dream boldly, and to pursue God's calling without fear of judgment. The unity within this community is powerful. It reflects the heart of God, who desires His people to work together in love and harmony. When you align with those who share your vision and calling, your impact is multiplied. The walls that once confined you are torn down, and the possibilities for what you can achieve together become limitless. You are no longer limited by the expectations of others or the constraints of human traditions. Instead, you are free to live out your faith in a way that is vibrant, transformative, and authentic. This divine connection also serves as a source of strength. The journey God has called you to is not without challenges, and there will be moments when you feel weak or uncertain. In these times, your community will stand with you, reminding you of God's promises and encouraging you to press on. Their prayers will uplift you, their words will inspire you, and their faith will ignite your own. Together, you will face battles and celebrate victories, knowing that you are not alone in the fight. Moreover, this community is not confined to a single location or context. It transcends borders, denominations, and traditions, uniting people from diverse backgrounds who share a common love for God and a commitment to His purpose. The connections you form will extend far beyond what you can imagine, creating a network of support, inspiration, and collaboration. These relationships are not fleeting, they are eternal, forged by the Spirit and sustained by God's love. As you embrace this community, you will also find opportunities to give as much as you receive. Your journey, your story, and your unique perspective will be a blessing to others. The wisdom you have gained through your trials will encourage those who are still walking through their own. Your victories will inspire hope, and your authenticity will remind others of the beauty of God's grace. In this mutual exchange, you will experience the fullness of what it means to be the body of Christ, each part contributing to the whole, each member playing a vital role in the mission of God's kingdom. This is the beauty of divine connection. It is not about conformity, but about unity in diversity. God brings together people with different gifts, perspectives, and strengths to accomplish His purposes. Together, you reflect His glory in a way that no individual could achieve alone. The world will see your love for one another and recognize the power of God at work in your midst. Your unity will be a testament to His greatness, drawing others to Him and inspiring them to seek the same depth of connection and purpose. You are not alone. God has been preparing your community just as He has been preparing you. The isolation you once felt is giving way to a season of divine connection and collaboration. Embrace these relationships with gratitude and intentionality, knowing that they are a gift from God. Together, you and your community will move mountains, break chains, and bring the light of God's love into the darkest places. This is not just about companionship, it is about fulfilling the extraordinary purpose God has set before you. You are part of something far greater than yourself, a movement of chosen ones, united in faith and bound by the Spirit, ready to change the world for His glory. Stepping boldly into your divine purpose. Your journey has been anything but ordinary. Each stage, whether marked by silence, rejection, liberation, or elevation, has been a deliberate act of preparation by God. He has been working in the background, orchestrating every detail, shaping you through trials, and refining you for a purpose far beyond what you could imagine. What once felt like isolation or hardship is now revealed as His loving hand guiding you towards something extraordinary. You've walked through the fire and come out refined. The chains of tradition and the weight of rejection have fallen away, replaced by freedom and an unshakable faith. The silence that once seemed heavy has birthed clarity and strength. The elevation you're stepping into is not about personal glory, but about reflecting God's love and grace to the world. And through it all, God is connecting you to a community, a soul tribe, that will stand beside you, encourage you, and join you in advancing His kingdom. Now, the question remains, will you embrace this calling? Will you step boldly into the purpose for which you were created? The time has come to rise, to carry the weight of your calling with humility and joy, and to let your life be a testament to God's transformative power. The world is waiting, even if it doesn't know it yet. Your story, your scars, and your triumphs are the light that will guide others toward the love of God. This is your moment. This is your purpose. And God has been with you every step of the way, preparing you for this. So walk forward with confidence, faith, and gratitude, knowing that what lies ahead is far greater than what lies behind. You are chosen, equipped, and ready to fulfill the extraordinary calling that God has placed on your life. The journey is only beginning, and the best is yet to come.